that's an Italian mafia.
Oh,
roast
yeah.
it.
Sports Blitz Live is on the air with full coverage of the Auburn Tigers,
Touchdown, Auburn!
the Alabama Crimson Tide,
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama. Touchdown!
and everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Good Saturday morning to everybody, and welcome into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Brett Pritchard and Scott Hardy here with you for 2 glorious hours on a Saturday morning. Good to see you, Scott.
Good morning, sir.
A lot of things going on in the world of sports, and a lot of things going on in the world, period. So, but anyway, we're going to dive into what's going on, especially in college, because today's the final regular season game for everybody, and then we'll have the SEC tournament. Man, I got to start. Well, Auburn's women had a little reality check yesterday.
Yeah.
LSU.
Yeah, and I mean,
Good Lord.
they fought pretty hard when we hosted them at home, but it was as
we
good
split.
as good as we've been playing.
It was 21-0.
Yeah.
They had a 3-touchdown lead before we scored a point. So.
You know, I mean they're the real deal for a reason, but I do think that regardless of that, I mean, you know, you don't want to go into it like that, but I mean, there's I don't know, I feel pretty good about the direction of the program in the short term and in long
Well, you
term
should, because she's done a great job, and it's going in the right direction. You just, you know, you play somebody 3 times, the better team's gonna win that third matchup, and you know, again, you know what the other teams did, both of them did, knew what they were gonna do, and you know, Auburn just outmanned. No, there's nothing else you can say about it in that game. But look, they'll move on to looks like an NCAA tournament again. So, making tremendous strides. You know, you look over on the men's side, Auburn and Alabama both need to win today to secure that, you know, top 4 seed in the SEC tournament. I don't think, you know, Arkansas comes to Alabama, Georgia comes to Auburn. It should be take care of business. But I will say this, you know, with Alabama, the last couple, you know, they've got, you know, 2 games here in a row that, you know, they've struggled, and they've played 2 really good teams, one at home, one on the road. They played the eventual regular season champ at home, and, you know, Tennessee was able to pull that out. And then they went to Florida, where everybody's been buzzsawed. We got buzzsawed, and that's just not that's not a team you want to draw. And it looks like if things hold serve, that's who we're going to get in the SEC tournaments of Florida. But, I mean, choose your poison. You want Kentucky, you want Florida. Who do you want? So Kentucky's playing good, and you know how they play in tournament play. It's you don't like to play Kentucky in that SEC tournament because it's 95%
It becomes
Kentucky
a Kentucky game, yeah.
Right. You feel like you're back in a home game there. So, but, you know, we'll talk about that. Got spring football going on. You know, Alabama and Auburn. Auburn has been off this week with spring break. So, you know, it's one of those deals where I had some calls yesterday on the show. Do you like starting spring football practice and then taking a week off? I mean, 3 or 4 days in, and then you take a week off. I mean, do you feel like – and I talked about this with Gary Harris yesterday on his show. I mean, I don't – I mean, I guess, you know, obviously the coaches know what they're doing and how they plan it, but it just seems like you get out there and you get in the flow and then you take a week off. It feels like when you come back, you almost have to use a day or so to kind of start back over again.
Yeah, I'm not personally, I don't necessarily like it, and I know that there could be some reasons behind it, but for me, especially for a team that's trying to build some stability and continuity, that is the absolute reverse of what you'd be doing. You get something started, then there's a stop.
Right.
And so not that I know this isn't, you know, summer camp or fall practice or anything, but Auburn's looking for some stability. And we've heard all the comments related to Coach Freeze, and, you know, maybe there wasn't the same effort or, concentration that you would have liked to have seen from a team. And so we talked a little bit about it a couple weeks ago. But, for me, I think that starts from the top down. So when you make comments about, recruiting and, that's where my focus was and all that. So saying all that, I think that Auburn needs something that puts them in the right direction on a more consistent basis.
Well, consistency is the word we used yesterday on the show. Not just in spring football practice. Yeah. In program 1 year to the next, to the next, going from an 8, 9 win, 10 win team to a 6 win team, and then back up and then back down. And, I think finally putting something, and Andy said this a couple of weeks ago, I'll sacrifice here even this year, last year what Hugh Freeze did, and then this year to build the program right finally, and to know that once you get to a point, you're going to put out a consistent product that's going to compete at the top of the league rather than, putting your eggs in one basket with one guy every 4 or 5 years and then trying to make a run and then falling back off and having to climb back up the hill again, for the next 2 or 3 years. So I think that's what Georgia's done such a really good job of with Kirby Smart, and what Nick Saban did for 17 years is that he built a consistent product. And I know times have changed. There's a lot that's happened in 17 years. The structure of college football is not the same anymore. So there's a lot of things that you have to look at, and you see coaches now leaving college to go to the NFL or go somewhere else because of all the different pulls on them all year long now. They don't get a break. Managing 2 portal windows, managing NIL stuff, managing your current roster, going out and trying to get new recruits. And all while, I didn't even mention go out and coach.
Yeah.
That's all the stuff you got to be doing to be able to put a team on the field, and who's got, how much time's in the day. And I think that's kind of what Coach Saban said. Now, there's a lot of people that have been critical of Saban, too, saying he's been talking out both sides of his mouth. He had it great for so long, and then now that everything's kind of come back to even, he was doing some things maybe everybody else wasn't doing for a long time, and now that everybody else can go out and do it in the wide open, it's kind of leveled the playing field some. And, but I do think that's part of it. I also think that he was disgusted at the way the kids are starting to act, and I think that's a reflection of everything we've got going on maybe in society as a whole. What are we teaching? What kind of lessons are we teaching? We want people to be successful. We want people to make money. But what kind of lessons are you teaching here when it's all about that? You're not trying to look at the way to grow and build and get to a point where you can be successful. You want it all of a sudden right now handed to you, and you're in there brokering the deals. And but again, trying to teach kids how to have a good work ethic, how not have a no-quit attitude, that if it gets tough, don't pack up your bags and go to another school, because you think it's going to be easier or better over there. I do think those are obstacles that college football's got to face because of the landscape right now.
I agree. And obviously, I think Georgia's the cream of the crop and has been, and they kind of planted themselves to be where Alabama was. But to me, I think what Saban's comments were, that there was a story came out this week about, saying that he didn't necessarily like the reaction of some of the players after the playoff loss. But I think it shows what we've been saying for a while is kids don't necessarily care about the jersey anymore, or the team name on the jersey anymore. It's about what either A, how much can you pay me, or B, how much playing time am I going to get? And so if either one of those can't be answered the way that they want, then they'll leave. So if you're somebody like Nick Saban, somebody that's at Alabama who is the top program in college sports, and you can't even get people to want to stay at your program, then imagine how hard it may be for some other programs to be able to do it too. So there's a lot of challenges, and you bring up all of the just outside of coaching, all of the other things that you have to deal with. So I'm interested to see what year 2 looks like, interested to see what year 1 looks like for DeBoer. But I think that maybe Freeze, I don't know if I can eat another year. We were talking about just now about, sacrifice another year.
I know what you're saying. We're tired of saying we're willing to sacrifice. it's time to, you know what, or get off the pot.
Now,
I mean, I get it.
7-5. If 7-5 can't happen again,
But if it does, what do you do?
Well,
if it does, you're not getting rid of Hughes Reese at 7-5. This is what we got. We have now. I think this is what every college program has. It's not because Auburn's not putting the money into it. It's not because they're not paying attention to facilities. It's not because they're not going out and trying to recruit the top class. It's just, how do you manage all this stuff? And I think this advisory council that's being formed is more important than ever. The NCAA has zero power. The thing that pisses me off more than anything, for lack of better terms, I'm sorry, is this whole time the NCAA hasn't had any power. But we allowed them to inflict almost damaging penalties on our program multiple times. Alabama too, Tennessee. They've hit a bunch of us. Penn State. When all we had to do as a program is say, no, I'm
not going to acknowledge your authority.
I'm really not even going to acknowledge because now you've had teams and universities challenge them in the court system, and the court system has ruled they've had no jurisdiction the whole time. So back in the 90s, when Eric Ramsey brought all that junk, at the end of the 80s and first part of the 90s, when Eric Ramsey brought all that junk on Pat Dye, he could say, yeah, I did it. We did it. So's Florida State. Hey, Alabama's doing it up there with, Ray Perkins, Bill Curry. What about, Tennessee? Look at what they've been doing. And with Johnny Majors. And then down at Florida, they about gave them the death penalty in the 80s with Galen Hall and Charlie Pell. I think everybody should have thrown the middle finger up to them a long time ago. And I think Florida State and Penn State kind of did back in those days when they actually kind of wanted to start investigating. They said, I tell you what, you start coming down here, we'll just pull out of the organization. Those were idle words at the time. It was enough threat to make the NCAA go away. But now teams have acted like Tennessee said, we're just going to go to court. You ain't. Everybody else is out here doing NIL, and you're going to come in and hit me with these violations. We're going to the court system. The court system said, you ain't any jurisdiction to do that. So now that basically rendered them the death penalty. Wow. They rendered the NCAA the death penalty, Scott. So Patrick said 7-5 is progress. Yeah, I think you have to look at it in perspective, right? So, it's one of those things that you got to look at moving forward. We'll talk more about it, a lot more coming up. We're just getting started here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Sportz Auto Sales, Highway 280 in Kellyton, Alabama, is home-owned and home-operated. If you're looking for tires, they have it. If you're looking for a vehicle, they have them. Great selection. Always out looking for more just for you, the customer. And if you're looking for service, whether you buy the vehicle from them or whether you buy the vehicle somewhere else, they do service work and got a great crew there. Keep us in mind. Don't you go by Sportz Auto Sales on Highway 280 in Kellyton today.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
The Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro continues to excel in making sure our clients have a smooth and pleasant experience with home financing needs. Families are struggling to make ends meet due to price increases and high interest rates on credit cards. Monthly debt can cripple a family from enjoying the special times in life. Property values are holding strong, and now is the time to take advantage of the equity in your home, saving hundreds of dollars a month. No money out of pocket and no payment until January 2024. Call the Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro today.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Karen Chanel, your State Farm agent in Alexander City, Alabama, and the greater Lake Martin area. I want to talk to you a little bit today about your discounts. How many of you are entitled to discounts that you may or may not be receiving? One of the easiest discounts on your homeowner's insurance is that of having a fire extinguisher. Coupled with a deadbolt lock and a smoke alarm, that gives you an automatic discount on your homeowner's policy.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. I want to thank Sunshine Heating and Air. Been with us 10 years now, over 10 years, I think, Scott. Kevin Kill and does all the work at my house when I need heat pump work. I hope I don't need any because he's done such a good job. I hope I don't need any anytime soon. So, but if you need a new unit, you're looking for heating and air repair, call on Sunshine Heating and Air. You see the number at the bottom of the screen. If you're watching on TV or Facebook, if you're listening on the radio, it's 256-825-4849. Since we were talking about the way college football's changed, and, we've always speculated. And when I say we, everybody in the media, everybody that's a fan, and this is not just college sports, this is all sports, how influential is gambling, and how much of an impact does outside entities have on results of games? Rigged is what I'm going at. Officials, players being bought. We've even seen it at Auburn. I mean, Auburn had a basketball player arrested and prosecuted for point shaving. It was proven. We've seen referees at all different levels be fired and, whatever for that. And then, you remember it used to be don't talk about betting and gambling, even on the air, ESPN. Now they have entire shows talking about lines. And when DraftKings came out, and I mean, it is just, it's immersed. And I think the state of Alabama voted against the gambling thing again, the sports part of it. I didn't read a lot of it because I just think some of the explanations that some of our state representatives give on some of this stuff at this point in time in 2023. Now, look, don't follow the crowd if you don't want. I mean, that doesn't necessarily make you right, following the crowd, but when you're trying to survive funding-wise and you're trying to do things and everybody around you's doing it, you're going to continue to lose fun. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. I'm not going down that road. I'm going back to what I started with. Do you think sports are fixed? Do you think, and also to go back with a conspiracy theory this year and last year of the NFL being scripted? I mean, how many times it's hard to fathom that something that elaborate could be scripted, Scott. It's too many pieces involved.
Yeah.
You got too many players. You got one guy could get disgruntled and say, I ain't following that script. But maybe is he scared for his contract and job that if he doesn't do it, but again, you can't control how a ball bounces either. So I know referees can control things to a certain extent by calling, penalties or fouls or whatever. We've had several NBA players come out on podcasts and so. And these podcasts are really where a lot of this stuff's starting to come out. Players have retired and moved on. They said, "Look, now I'm out of it. I'm just going to tell you, and I can't remember which player it was that was talking about how the NBA can control games like a guy's inside, and you could go ahead and get 2 or 3 fouls early on that guy, or how loosely you call it versus, adding free throws, getting free throws in the mix. And, controlling point lines depending on what the score is and all that. I do think there's something to all that. I do think it goes on. I don't know what level, Scott, but I do personally think there's just way too many pieces and external factors and offers that can be made to individuals to say, hey, look, all I need you to do is, keep it within this range.
I mean, now if you watch enough of this stuff, you could maybe look at it and see maybe where the NFL, you could see where somebody could get the idea that it is scripted. I don't believe it's scripted, but I do think that there are, if you look at these point lines on any sport, but these NFL lines specifically, I mean, if it's 6.5, they're going to win by 5 to 7, 6 to 8. Like it's within that, and so there's no way when you see certain teams, it's like they should kill them, and they end up winning by 4.
Well, that's why and Patrick said Vegas is undefeated, and he's right because use that analogy right there. It's not costing the casinos any money to put a point line out there, so you got half maybe betting on one side, half on the other, one half loses, whatever. The other half's gonna hit for you.
Yeah.
So you pay out that, but one's gonna probably pay out more depending on, their side bets and all that other kind of stuff. They don't build all those casinos because they're going broke. Yeah. But I mean, I know it's not that basic, but I do think what you're saying has a lot of merit to it. But I want to go deeper than that. And the reason I brought all this up, and again, it's picking up a lot of steam online with people talking because the guy decided to go on a podcast and talk about it. But a former Vanderbilt quarterback, Mo Hassan, said he was approached at a bar in Nashville by the Italian mafia. And I know that starts to sound far-fetched and all, but I mean, I don't know why he would go on a podcast, maybe to get attention. I don't think you throw that stuff around unless there's some merit to it. He didn't name any names. He said a lot of the guys are in the pros still and doesn't want to, it's just not the right thing to do. But he did specifically mention University of Alabama. Now, they're not the only ones, but he said that they offered him $300,000 to fix games. And he said he knows that they mentioned multiple names of people that were highly involved in this stuff. And so he's saying that pretty much all the SEC games were rigged.
I mean,
that's what he came out and said. Let me read the quote, and I'll let you elaborate. He said, I was approached at Jason Aldean's bar in Nashville by the Italian mob to fix football games. The guy offered me $300,000. I went to get drinks, so I'm alone, right? He said, I'm not with my friend group. He comes up to me, he offered me $300,000. He said, for something like this, my client's $250,000, $300K for a game. He said, we regularly talk to guys in your position about fixing games. He said he named guys in the SEC who I don't want to say their names because they're in the NFL right now, and that's a bad deal. But the University of Alabama, I will tell you that. He said almost every game in the SEC is rigged. Now, again, are you taking a lot of merit in the Vanderbilt quarterback saying he's rigging a game?
That's the only thing that maybe would give you some hesitation because it's not like they're a lot of their games. Hey, it could be something where, I don't even know how you could be involved in it because unless you're playing somebody that was not he's saying SEC games, but does he mean necessarily like SEC inter-conference games or any team involved with an SEC team or any SEC team involved in playing? Maybe they're playing an out-of-conference game, and it makes it a little easier because Vanderbilt has a chance to win. But if Vanderbilt's playing Alabama, I don't really know too much point shaving that
it doesn't necessarily mean they're playing Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, he's coming up saying maybe he's telling him, I need you to throw 3 interceptions in this game. Because there was an NFL quarterback that said that happened to him. He said he got approached and got in a mess with a external group. I'm not going to say mafia, it's who it was, but probably who it was. That told him, look, I need you to throw 3 picks in this game. He threw 3 picks.
Okay, now that –
I mean, but fixing games, that's unrealistic with Vanderbilt. Now, but it may be Vanderbilt and South Carolina. And the point spread might be 17. There's different things. I don't know. Got some comments coming in. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll keep talking about this. and a lot more, a lot to discuss here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need. With top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindaiwa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill. And our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto. Central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Opelika Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram at 801 Columbus Parkway in Opelika has a massive inventory of quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Every make, every model. Quality pre-owned vehicles are available at Opelika Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram. Located at 801 Columbus Parkway in Opelika and online at opelikaFordChrysler.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Patrick said that 14 Auburn A&M game's always been fishy to him.
Yeah.
Well, you remember what happened in that game? Auburn was number 3 in the country and 7-1, and still very much in the playoff contention. And you're playing an unranked A&M team at home with a freshman quarterback, Kyle Allen. And Nick Marshall was back. You know, we got down in that game. We came back, and we were definitely in control in the second half. And you're driving and just about to go in to score, and you fumble the football. And it looked weird.
Yeah.
I'm not saying – you have exchange between a quarterback and center issues all the time, but this one was an early snap. Nobody was ready. Again, when you look back, hindsight, in the moment, you're like, man, that's a bad play. You just blew it. But you start talking about all this stuff, and you look into, how this game was played, and, A&M just winning that game outright on the road. I don't know. Who was taught to? Was there anybody? There may be nothing to it. But I'm just saying that this is a story that, will there be anything else that comes out of this with Mo Hassan from Vanderbilt? Will we hear any more about it? Will there be any other players come out and talk about this? Are they willing to verify that this happened? Or,
I mean, I think with football, it seems like it would be a little tougher. I mean, there's things you can do that could cause turnovers, or maybe you can bog down a game or a penalty here or there. But basketball really, I think, is if you were looking at how you could create some point differentials or keep a line a certain way, the officials have the most influence on that because they can call fouls or not call fouls.
Right.
So, I mean, I can definitely see it happening on the basketball floor a lot more than probably people would realize. And, I mean, all the time you look at it, I mean, those lines are not –
I think it was Gilbert Arenas that was talking about it on a podcast.
Well, too, they talk about how, like, those closeout games are the hardest games that you'll have because it's like – and they kind of said what you were saying, like they didn't want to go too far into it,
Right.
but saying how the league will
Hey, and I'll say this
things.
about the NBA or any sport, the Major League Baseball. Well, you got a 7-game series. How is it beneficial for the league to only play 4 games? Do you realize how much more money you add 3 more games if the series goes 7 games? Now, when Michael Jordan was playing for the Bulls, they never went to 7. They went to 6, never went to 7. But you don't see – I mean, from time to time, the Houston Rockets and Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic was a team that was full of young guys who were very good, Penny Hardaway, Shaquille O'Neal, and a veteran Houston Rockets team. You know, and you also got to remember this was during that stretch where Michael Jordan took 2 years off, and the Bulls were out of the mix. That's why Houston won those 2 championships. So you had a veteran team with Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon and all those guys. So it's more realistic to say, all right, Orlando, they got good players. They're good, and they've kind of come out of nowhere. But it's not unrealistic to see. So we'll let this thing play out. And Houston swept them, right? Now, Nick Anderson missed three free throws in the first game in OT. It could have given Orlando a 1-0 lead, and I'll never forget it. And Houston ends up winning the game in overtime, whatever, and they sweep them. But my point is, people talk about that all the time, Scott. They go, why in the world would the NBA want somebody to come in and sweep? Now, again, if there's nothing to anything, you just let it all play out. But, again, we're not naive enough to think that I don't know how many, they'd be billions. Does that translate into when you go 4 games versus 7 in a series?
I mean, especially if now, you know, there's going to be a series here. They're like when the Warriors were at their peak and they were playing the 8th seed. Okay. Yeah,
no, I get it. Like I said,
but
their time.
Realistically speaking, most of these teams are pretty even. And so for a team to get beaten 5 games, no, the NBA doesn't need that to happen. Like they need it to go 6, 7 games, especially when you have 3 or 4 rounds of a playoff.
I mean, you're filling up an arena 2 more times. It's more TV advertising. It's just more money flowing in, man. I mean, the college football playoff hasn't even expanded to 12 yet. We haven't even gotten a 12-team playoff under our belt yet. And they're already talking about expanding it again. What drives all this?
It's all money. And, I mean.
So do you see why we've arrived where we are in college football, in college athletics, college basketball? Do you see why the players are like, look, everybody in the world's making money except us. And if we all walked off the field and the floor, then you wouldn't have a sport to bet on. You wouldn't have a sport to expand. You wouldn't have a sport that's going to make you billions of dollars in TV revenue and stuff like that. I mean, it makes sense when you start putting it all in the pot together.
Yeah, and Senator Toverville was interviewed this week about that and talked about the possibility of, like, what would happen if the student athletes decided to unionize and how that could impact things. And so he brought up a good point, and, like, I couldn't see it happen, but it might, you know, if you could go and say, look, we're not going to play in this championship game right like that, or in the playoffs, so we're not going to play until we get certain things. So the players, and they could do that now, like that's the whole thing, even without forming some type of official players union, which I do think the players need something, because if you're starting to get paid,
I'm telling you, once you cross that threshold, there is no amateurization. Yeah. There's no amateurization right now. There's no amateurism in this sport right now. But you really have pretty much said, I'm done with college. The academic part which is, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying it's an afterthought at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when was the last time you heard of somebody being academically ineligible? Seriously. I mean, you used to hear about it all the time. I mean, this up until about 5 years ago. Well, he's not eligible. He didn't make the grade. Shoot. I mean, kid transferred 3 or 4 times. Who knows what he's eligible for? I mean, his transcript's following him from over here to over here to over here. It's just like nobody's even keeping up with it. I mean, and who are you?
That makes a really good point. I mean, if you legit, some of these guys have transferred 2 and 3 times, so you're leaving, you're there for a semester, you going somewhere else.
Do we need a compliance director in college athletics anymore? Compliance for what?
Yeah.
Rich McGlynn used to be the most powerful guy in Auburn. Everybody hated him because he was making Auburn toe the line. I mean, where's he at today? Is he on a beach somewhere sipping a margarita? Because, I mean, he went from having to evaluate, and I'm just using him because I know he's at Auburn. He's evaluating all this stuff and making everybody toe the line. He comes out now in a hypothetical and tells the coach, well, you can't do that. And they're like, hey, man, I can tell you what you can do. You can walk right on back down the hall or you can start packing. I mean, I'm being exaggerate, but I'm just saying that do you need a compliance officer anymore? What are you complying to?
Yeah.
The NCAA has been rendered useless. So I think all that's being looked at too. I don't know, man. It's wild.
So I know we're up against the break, but so does that mean now? I mean, I know people are doing it, but you just pay whatever you want. I mean, like there's nothing preventing you from doing anything necessary to get a kid now. Like what that compliance thing is a really good point. Like what are you doing?
I mean, what are you regulating?
Okay. I mean, I hadn't thought about that portion of the athletic department.
If you take all the stop signs and all the red lights down and everybody's just driving,
well, you need the police.
The police ain't going to give you a ticket for running a red light anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to give you a ticket for running a stop. You may have a wreck because everybody thinks it's their way. But I think that's kind of a good analogy for college athletics right now. What law are you enforcing? What rule are you enforcing? So, up against the break, stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Are you waking up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, maybe even ringing in your ears, all because you're grinding and clenching your teeth at night? That's exactly what was going on with me. That's when I found this, the Brux Night Guard. Now, the Brux Night Guard redirects the bite force away from the back teeth, reducing jaw pain while still protecting the teeth. This unique design is what makes Brux Night Guard different from all other traditional grind guards. Go to BruxNightGuard.com and order yours today.
there's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes that are installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air, 256-234-6221. We won't go into that direction today.
Let's not.
We won't go. We won't go down that road. Patrick said college football will have a CBA soon. Look, I'm gonna go back to what we said before we went to break. And I really just thought of that when I was trying to be a little bit funny, but. What are these departments? I mean, you're really looking at a reshaping of a department. What are you trying to be in compliance with? Now, if a new advisory council is formed by the Big Ten and SEC, like they said it's going to be, to kind of monitor and do the things that the NCAA for all these years hasn't been doing. You know, and I think that's where, and I'm going to stop and I'll go back to that, but I think that's where the NCAA made a grave mistake years ago. Instead of they were the bully on the side threatening everybody all the time. Don't want us to come to your place. If we do, it's going to be bad. And they also, when teams did something wrong and they said, look, okay, we did the wrong thing. We're telling you what we did. Don't punish us so bad. They would punish them worse than somebody trying to hide it. So they never brought in groups to discuss things and make them actively involved in shaping the rules. They can say they did, but they were not on the side of the schools. It seemed like it was them against their schools, against the member schools on all these rules. So, but this advisory council, Scott, if it's formed, whatever rules are put in place by that, now you'll have a new set of rules and things that you have to comply to. So I guess it would still be needed, but right now in the current state, I don't know what you're complying with.
So as it relates to the advisory council, is that under the umbrella of the NCAA, or is that separate?
Separate.
So then, even in that regard, like, how do you?
I'm telling you, they rendered the NCAA dead. I mean, that's not funny. It's being the ruling with Tennessee and the SEC commissioner and the Big Ten commissioner coming out saying, you know what, the NCAA is not doing anything to help rectify this problem that they've caused, so we're going to do it. And if they don't like it, who cares? They don't have a vote now. So I think that's the worst thing that could have happened to the NCAA is for the big conferences like the Big Ten and the SEC who've run everything anyway, decide to tell them to go, take a leap. And we don't need you anymore, and everybody's going to follow suit. What happened in COVID, Scott? The SEC, everybody was like, we're going to cancel it. Pac-12 jumped out there first and said, we're canceling the season. Well, you know what they ended up doing 4 years later? Canceling their conference. Mm-hmm. They canceled the season. Then the ACC said, well, we're going to do it. And then the Big 12 said they were going to do it, and the SEC said, hold on, we're going to play. Well, we ain't not going to play these games. And the Big Ten was kind of laying in wait, and then right behind the SEC, they said, we're going to play too. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what the ACC does then? Well, crap, they're going to play. We're going to play. And then the Big 12 said, well, we're going to play too. And the Pac-12 was out there left for dead, and then by the time they got started back, the season was about over. I think they played like 5 games. And the SEC has always been the trendsetter because they are the premier conference in college athletics. The Big Ten, too. I give them credit. Big Ten and the SEC, to me, are 1A and 1B. Whatever those two conferences do, Scott, the rest of college football is going to do. If you don't, you're going to die. You just get pushed to the side. So that's it in a nutshell. Now you've got the Big Ten and the SEC forming this advisory council. The NCAA didn't have a role anymore, man. They're out.
So I'm just trying to get my head around what the advisory council, like even in that space.
They don't know. I don't think they know. That's why they're forming this thing to discuss, because the SEC and the Big Ten, Scott, are going to control what happens in college football. So if they jointly decide, okay, we're going to put a limit on NIL. We're going to put a limit on this. I don't care what's going on to this point. This has been the Wild West. We got to rein it in. This is not sustainable. Some of these players are going to get pissed off. Okay, whatever. Hey, so what? You know, there are things that go on, and then laws get put in place, and, you know, you may not like them, but you better abide by them. So they're going to come in and put restrictions and things in place that needed to have been done on the front side. And, yeah, it's going to hurt a little bit because some of these guys took advantage of it. You know what? Kudos to them. They came along at the right time. But moving forward, these players are going to have to succumb to these rules or they don't have to play, man. That's what they're going to tell them. They're going to say, you got a choice. Go play in Conference USA. Go play in the Mountain West. I don't care. You're not playing in this league. You're not going to play where all the money is. And if you want to come play here and you want to be seen and you want to have a shot to go to the NFL, then that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to play, and they will. Everybody will. They'll conform to that, and they'll accept it, and they'll shape it as it goes. Don't you think that's how it'll be?
Yeah, I do think, though, now that the players have gotten a taste of the type of influence and power that they could have, that
it's
they
not
could.
saying they're going to wipe all that out.
No, I'm
they're
just
going
saying.
to rein it in, though.
Yeah.
They're going to have to, Scott. You can't have free willy-nilly out here just doing whatever you want to do and paying a quarterback out of high school $9 million. I mean, all of the big colleges said, look, we can't sustain this. So if they can't, like you just said earlier about Nick Saban, can't keep a player at the school anymore. Well, if he can't do it, what do you think's going on at some of these other schools?
I agree. I mean, I think something's going to have to happen. I think now, though,
well, yeah, they've got a taste of it.
The compliance side, now going back to that, then I do see where you would say, all right, so very similar to how they structure things with the NFL draft, where you say, all right, your top 8 to 12 picks, you're sliding in at this amount. But then again, who's determining? So we're going to say a quarterback. Like, are we doing it by position base, or we're just going to say in general, I know these are all hypotheticals, but I mean, are we going to say you can't pay somebody more than this in NIL money, or are we going to really go back to what NIL should have been and disrupt these collectives? Like, that's where you need to, the adjustments have to be made is with the collectives. So if the collectives are allowed to continue to operate as they are, then
the rule was abused from day one. That's where all of that. You just hit the nail on the head. That never got off on the right foot. We all knew what NIL stood for, but that's all that was an open door for colleges to say, I tell you what, oh man, you can, I can help you with that. I can help you with your name, image, and likeness. And it turned into pay for play, which that was the whole reason here's the irony in all this. You're trying to get away from pay for play, give players more freedom to go out and do things based on their image and likeness and all. And instead, now you've just opened up a legal payment plan through colleges, right?
That's it, yeah. I mean, and I do think at some point, and relatively soon, you'll see when the advisory committee comes together or council comes together, they'll make some adjustments to that. But I think that we're so far down if we don't do it. Like,
I don't think
2 more years of this.
But I don't think you can take that approach. I really don't. I don't think you can go in there and say we're too far down. I think that's why they're forming that committee right now, because like you said, the longer it persists, the harder it does.
That's what I'm
but,
getting
right,
at.
But you got to stop it now. You know, you can't just go over there and say, well, the dam's got a big old crack in it, and I can't do anything about it, and I'm just going to let it grow until the whole thing collapses and floods everybody downstream. You know what I mean? You got to go over there and fix the daggum thing. And I think that's what the council's doing because the NCAA didn't do it. All they did was pout like a kid and go back and do nothing because the Supreme Court ruled against them and basically cut their legs out. That was the start of the death of the NCAA. And then when that happened, Scott, man, that's when it opened up for everybody to go and do whatever the heck they wanted to do because there was nobody enforcing anything.
I agree.
And now they want to come back after the fact out of the blue and try to enforce some rules and said that Florida State and Tennessee had NIL violations. I mean, the AD for Tennessee said, what? I mean, I didn't know there was anything to violate. And so the courts ruled in favor of them, which that basically another punch to the face, which has rendered them useless at this point. So up against another break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Truckloads of fresh inventory are rolling into Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika, like this powerful all-new GMC Sierra 1500 SLT, now available with up to $13,000 off. Purchase the roomy GMC Terrain SLT discounted up to $8,750 off, and the GMC Acadia AT4 all-wheel drive discounted up to $7,000 off. Enjoy no payments till summertime at Glenn Smith GMC. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City, Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than who? Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry?
Main Street Family Urgent Care.
Main Street Family Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care opens 7 days a week.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
It's truck season at Sarah Automotive. New Honda Ridgelines, $349 a month. Ford Rangers, $357 a month. Nissan Frontiers, $379 a month. And Chevrolet Silverados, $399 a month at Sarah Automotive. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge, engine, powertrain, and more. It's truck season at Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Nissan, and Sarah Chevrolet.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Final segment here in hour number one. A little bit local news here for us. Outdoors-wise, the ABT Trail is in Alexander City on Lake Martin today, Scott. So for us, that brings a lot of revenue. And the Alabama Bass Trail is massive. It's one of the bass trails in the entire country, but they've done a great job with it over the last several years, and it's put a lot of guys in the pros. And so, but they always make a stop here on Lake Martin. Not the best weather outside, but you know, it's fishing, man. You put your rain gear on, you get after it. But I just want to bring that up because they're responsible for a lot of economic impact on a lot of communities around the state because they do a northern division and a southern division, and we always are glad to see them come to AHSAA and Lake Martin.
Absolutely. The tax revenue that's generated during the time, whether it's through lodging tax or through sales tax, there's just the impact economically that they provide. So we're very fortunate to have the quality of lake that we have, and that we're in a position that people want to fish on it. But very pleased to have them here this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you see a bunch of boats on the lake, I mean, now you're going to be much recreation going on today. So if you're out on a day like today, you're fishing, and you're fishing for a lot of money because that trail has a lot of good payouts on that. Scott, to end this first segment, we're about to dive into college basketball. Auburn and Alabama wrapping up the season today against teams they should take care of business with both Arkansas and Georgia. Where will that put them? We'll go through a hypothetical bracket here in the second hour. Hopefully catch up with Luke Robinson, kind of get his take on some things. But the NCAA tournament is what everybody's fighting for. Obviously, the SEC tournament's important, but the NCAA tournament, Bruce Pearl with another chance to win 24-plus games today if they take care of business against Georgia. I'll put them at 13-5 in conference play. That'll put Alabama at 13-5 in conference play if they take care of Arkansas, which they should. If you're Alabama, and I'll ask Luke this in the next hour, but just kind of your thoughts. They haven't had many, especially since SEC play, they haven't had a 2-game losing streak. Now, again, they played 2 outstanding teams. They think they'll get back on track today at home. But, I was on Gary's show yesterday, and he said, look, I'm a little concerned, to be honest with you, that Alabama's not built to make a run in the NCAA tournament. He said, I think Auburn's better built because of their physicality, their defensive play. But then I kind of reversed it on him, and I said, well, when Alabama loses, they score 90. Now, I know they didn't score 90 against Florida, but several of their losses, even when they've lost, they've scored in the 90s. So, this team can shoot it. And I don't want to say they necessarily live and die by the 3. They can get to the rim, and they find different ways to score. But, man, when they are on, Scott, from outside, they're almost unbeatable.
Yeah, I think – and we've seen it all season. I do think just the team's inability to play defense, quality defense at certain aspects of the game has caused some of the frustration and the losses that they've had. But I agree with you. I think that they can score, which puts them in a position to play with anybody. But kind of seeing the same thing. Auburn went through a little stretch with that. It just so happens that Alabama had that portion of the schedule at the end of the year. And so it looks more glaring, I guess, as you're heading into the SEC tournament. But Auburn had that little stretch too, kind of middle of the SEC pack or SEC schedule. So I think it is what it is. Alabama's proven that they can play almost with anybody. The front end of their schedule is very tough, and so they've played top-tier NCAA tournament teams. But you do want to go into your tournament, with some momentum, and they should get back on track today against Arkansas. But that does bring up a good point on just how they built for that. Some have said that kind of same thing about Kentucky. They're defensively, will they be able to do it? But that's a team that I think can be very scary.
All right, so Tennessee, are they? I mean, we've seen Barnes get this team here before, highly ranked, and we've seen teams with outstanding players. Auburn has kind of had their number. And in the past, when they've had a good team, we've had a good team, we've won. Just your thoughts, can Tennessee – I think they're going to get a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. I think they've earned it. But you look at their record versus, Auburn's and Alabama's, there's not much difference. And now they are playing well. I think they've got the player of the year, possibly the national player of the year. I know Edey probably will win that for Purdue, but I think Dalton Knecht's made a valid argument for being considered for that. can Tennessee get past the second round finally with Rick Barnes? That's the question.
I believe so. I think that there are a handful of teams in the SEC that have a chance to make a deep run, but I think Tennessee may be the only team that I think Kentucky too on the slide, but I think Tennessee.
Kentucky has been struggling. I mean, when's the last time they sniffed the final?
Yeah, but I mean, like I think that this team is a little, in which they've always had the most talented team, so that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But I do think Tennessee, of the teams in the conference, they're built the best to win a national championship. I think that Auburn and Kentucky are good enough to get to the Final Four. I think Alabama's a fringe Final Four team, so I do think that the SEC will be well represented come tournament time.
No, I do too. No, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Not necessarily the amount of teams, but I mean, like when they get there, I think that they'll do it.
You think in the Sweet? How many SEC teams could be in the Sweet 16?
Florida, Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee. So that's 5 there.
5 could make the Sweet 16.
Now I don't. Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah.
It depends on how you bracket.
Yeah.
Who you got to play, but. Man, I mean,
those teams should have favorable seeding and matchups, so that round of 32 game will be the one.
Patrick said Tennessee, Florida, Kentucky, and Auburn can make deep runs. Hadn't had a Final Four team since 2019. Haven't had a Final Four team since 2019, and that was Auburn, SEC. So going on a little bit of a drought.
Yeah.
Can they get somebody there this year? Can you get 2 there this year? Could possibly have, depending on where you're coming from and how the play out. I think UConn will get there.
Arizona's going to be tough. Houston will be tough.
There's going to be a couple of teams that are going to take a couple of those spots, but can the SEC grab the other 2? Up against the top of the hour. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
When driving, wear a seatbelt, not a filter. What? Alabama has a code of the road, and knowing it helps you follow it. This is a message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Gorey at Gorey's Furniture. Come join us for the madness of March. Come join us here at Gorey's Furniture. Make a purchase, shoot from the line, 5, 10 to 15. That's % discount off your total ticket. So come join us. Let's have fun. Everyone's a winner. Everyone will save. Come join us for the madness of March, and that's only at Gorey's Furniture.
When driving, stay sober, not stoned. Alabama has a code of the road, and knowing it helps you follow it. This is a message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air, not hour. We are in hour number 2.
We are.
Rolling right along here on the program, and just got confirmation we'll have Greg Vincent on at 8:36 to talk about the Red Crest tournament with MLF, and that's their version of the Bassmaster Classic. It's the big dollar. It's the $500,000 tournament. And it's actually going to be fished in Alabama this year. It's going to be fished on Way Lake, right up to 280 a year. Scott, a lot of people in our area watch the show in Sylacauga and, Childersburg, and know all about Lay Lake and what a great fishery it's been. It's been fished more Bassmaster Classics have been fished on that lake than any other lake ever. Wow. So big-time fishery, a lot of good fisheries here in the state of Alabama. We'll have Greg join us at 8:36 to talk about. He made it. He's in the top 40. Only 40 of them get a chance to fish in that tournament. So
that's big.
So looking forward to catching up with our friend Greg and talking about that opportunity. Roger said Bama's offense disappears too much. Too many 4 or 5 minute droughts during the middle of the game. I don't see them making it to the second weekend. I disagree, Roger. I guess I'm a little bit more bullish on Alabama because, man, they've got a great point guard in Mark Sears, and I think he can go and he can kind of take things over. Griffin scares me from outside. Now, I know the problem is inside presence and defense around the rim for Alabama. That is their Achilles heel. I think Auburn did a good job of exploiting that the second time they played them. They didn't do so well the first time they played them. Kind of tried to get in a three-point shooting contest with Alabama. Didn't work out too well. So I think you have to get into a game and you have to dictate what happens in the game. You can't let the other team get you out of what you do. You got to get that team out of what they do. And that's really it. It's what style of game are you going to play? Are you going to force the other team to play your style, or are they going to force you to play their style? And I think Alabama can force teams because it's natural to want to get up and down and run, and get out in transition and hit threes. Auburn, I think, plays defense as good as anybody in the country. The problem is, talk about a scoring drought.
Yeah.
4 or 5 minutes, we'd love that.
Yeah.
I mean, we go on 10-minute scoring droughts. And, you look up and you're still in the game, but it's 54 to 46. And it's like, man, and you look at Kentucky, and there's a couple games every team there at the top would like to have back that could have probably been the difference in them winning the regular season. But one being the Mississippi State game on the road. Yeah. I knew that one was going to haunt Auburn. And the Kentucky game at home, Auburn's 14-1 at home this year. And they had just blown out South Carolina, who was the number 1 team in the league, by 40. So a few days later, they come in and they score 59 points. You cannot have that drastic. If you do that in the tournament, obviously you're gone.
No, yeah.
But I think there was too much hype around that game. The build-up, ESPN being there basically the rest of the week, all the features, which is great. You want all that for exposure for your program, but I just don't think Auburn handled it well. I really don't, and I think maybe they took Kentucky lightly, which is hard to say. I never thought I'd ever say that in my life about Auburn playing Kentucky in basketball, but they had just blown out South Carolina by 40, who was the number 1 team, and Kentucky had been struggling, and I think they kind of went in there and said, look, they're about to come in Neville Arena. We never lose in here.
I think that was –
and – they couldn't shoot the basketball. Everybody it was a flat day. And when you have those days, you're going to lose, man.
Yeah, and I think that played a major part which is good. We should be confident. We should have the mindset that when we're playing in Neville, you're not going to beat us. But I think combining that with the struggles Kentucky was having at that time were not really playing up to par. I think the Auburn game, Auburn game actually, I think, catapulted Kentucky.
I think John Calipari walked in there and said, "Look, nobody fears y'all anymore. Nobody thinks y'all are the top of the league. They think Auburn's the top of the league. You about to roll into their place, they think they're going to blow you out. You know, who do you think you are? I mean, are you going to step up, or you just going to roll over and let them beat you by double digits like they beat everybody this year?" And Kentucky said, "Look, we're the most talented group. We're going to go in here. I don't care who's in this building." And that's what they did. And so, again, I think that goes to validate your point earlier about Kentucky in tournament play. They haven't done it recently, but you could see this team, nothing shakes them. They could get on a roll, and they could end up in the Final Four because of the talent that they have.
That's it. And, I mean, I think that the people in Lexington are, you know, Cal's not going anywhere, obviously. But, I mean,
$90 million buyout.
There's, you know, at some point you're going to get tired of going home in the
It's not
second
acceptable
round.
in Kentucky.
Wow.
I mean, look.
Especially when Tennessee, like now you're seeing Tennessee do it too.
Well,
I mean,
look at who's won the SEC regular season the last 7 years. Tennessee, Auburn, or Alabama.
Well,
where's Kentucky? Their fans are going, this ain't football. This is basketball. We're supposed to be the premier team. And I agree with what Patrick said. He said our defense played good. We held them to 70. And I think the defense plays good every time. I think defense travels, whether you're home, on the road, whatever. But the problem with Auburn is they may score 100 one night and score 59 the next. And it wasn't – and look, the biggest knock going into that game was Kentucky's poorest play on defense. Well, they stepped it up a notch in that Auburn game. And they really defended, really caused havoc. But Auburn, when they had open shots, they missed them. So it was a recipe for a big L, and Auburn took the L, and you move on. But, you know, Alabama's got games they wish they had back, you know. They had an opportunity at home to knock Tennessee off and be in control, and they didn't do it. You know, so did South Carolina. So that's why I say Tennessee probably deserves it more than anybody, because they've had the toughest stretch. They've had to play Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina, and now they'll have to play Kentucky today. Yeah. They went ahead and clinched it. But you talk about the roughest path. That was very similar to the path we had in the NCAA tournament to make it to the Final Four. When you go back and look and see that you beat North Carolina, Kansas, and Kentucky to get there, we felt like we'd already won the dadgum championship.
Agreed.
Has there ever been a tougher route?
No, I mean, and especially like
that's what
from
makes that run
legacy
so
and historic time, and like I'll never forget that. That'll always be a special time.
We'll say that I'll save it for the next segment. I'm going to ask you a couple questions when we come back. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Planting season is here, and the Potting Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All an array of colors and sizes, along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA. Lake Area Realty specializes in Lake Martin real estate. They can help simplify your next real estate purchase or sell and have helped many home buyers and sellers through the area buy and sell real estate with precision. Lake Area Realty utilizes powerful marketing tools and knowledge of the lake to help you with your next move. Call your local hometown agency today. Lake Area Realty at 256-825-4800. That's 256-825-4800. Lake Area Realty, helping you find your way home.
Have you stopped by Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store lately? If you haven't, you should. You'll find great pieces for your favorite do-it-yourself project. Lightly used name brand clothing by Free People, North Face, Matilda Jane, Patagonia, and a whole lot more. And while you're there, don't miss the shoes, decorative pieces, classic and new books, and Auburn and Alabama gear that won't cost you a fortune. So stop and shop at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store today for a unique thrift experience that won't break the budget. Lifesavers Mission Thrift, located on East University behind Zaxby's.
Hi, this is Andrew McGreer at Dunning Roofing. At Dunning Roofing, we specialize in high-quality, premium roofs. We don't build roofs that just meet code requirements. We build quality roofs with premium materials that significantly exceed our competitors' warranties. We put money on your roof, not in our pockets. If you're looking for a top-quality roof, call Dunning Roofing today for your free quote at 256-307-7601 or visit us at DunningRoofingAL.com for more information.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill. Sunshine, Heating, and Air. I don't want to bring up bad memories, but, you know, going back and talking about things that hurt and that you never get over, and you just said you'll never forget the Final Four run. And that run was – and just how we won those games. You know, over North Carolina, a blowout. You know, Kansas, blowout. You get to Kentucky and you beat them in overtime to get there, and you're without Chimo Kiki, who got hurt in that North Carolina game. But you had to go through arguably the three best programs all time in college basketball, save Duke, you know, and maybe UCLA, obviously, back in the day. But if you had to say what are the three powerhouse programs, you're going to name those three. And Auburn had to beat all three of them to get to the Final Four. And then they played Virginia. And so that brings me to this question. We were up 5 points, 17 seconds to go, and had the ball. Or they had the ball coming down. So it was desperation mode for them. And they double dribbled. Now, people say he did whatever. He did. And he had the ball knocked out, went back there and picked it up with two hands, and then took off and dribbled again. It's the rule. Didn't call it. And then we foul, put them at the line, and we go to the free throw line. Don't we miss a shot?
Yeah, I get a little foggy on what happened when we had on our possession.
We got the ball back. So they end up hitting a three in the corner to cut it to two. And I don't know, I think we may have missed. I can't remember. I have to go back and look. Somebody help us out there. I think I blocked it out for a reason. But I do remember that call and then the foul call on Guy in the corner with Samir Dowdy. Yeah. And Samir Dowdy, look, and there was a game several years prior to that, the same exact thing happened, except I think it was Syracuse, basically shoved a guy in the front row and they didn't call it. And that was as time was running out. So you foul a guy, they call the foul, put a guy at the line for three shots. Now, Kyle Guy hit him, credit him, right? Patrick said Jared Harper missed a free throw. I knew somebody did. I couldn't remember. So Kyle Guy hits all three free throws, and they beat us by a point. Does that hurt worse, or does the 2013 National Championship game hurt worse? Which one hurts worse to you?
For me, gut feeling just always just the Florida State loss just hurts because
both of them do, man.
With basketball, there was really no expectation of that
but
happening.
You're there, though.
Once you're get there. And so for me,
you're about to win,
Yeah,
and
you
get to
probably win the national championship.
Well, you're going to beat Texas
yeah,
Tech.
you probably win the
I
national
think everybody
championship.
agrees with that, right?
And so, but I think about the Final Four run, and like we got engaged. The North Carolina game had a big part. We watched the game 9 o'clock. Like I'll always remember that period of time of like what happened personally during that time period. But the Florida State loss, just to me, I think it is more gut wrenching just because I knew what it could have meant for Auburn.
It could have been the ending of the best college football comeback season
ever. Yeah.
And still, I think it's the best. But if you cement that championship and you go from what you put on the field in 2012 to pulling off what you did in 13.
That's the only thing. But the basketball really, like that, because that was just a fantastic year too. But on the football side, you've got 2 championships in 4 years, and or 3 years, and so it's like, all right, maybe Auburn could be something, because 14 really you were right back there. You were ranked number 4 playing against Mississippi State. So I mean,
But that just shows you the pain of being there and not finishing. Now, we finished against Oregon, still hasn't ever won one. And they've been to the playoffs a couple times, and now, we beat them in the BCS. But getting there and not finishing, I don't care who you have coming back. Nothing's guaranteed. So many things have to fall in place for you just to even get back there. And I think that's what Detroit's coach said this year in the NFC Championship game. I mean, he sounded like the biggest loser on the planet, but he said that may have been our best shot ever. And I know that sounds bad because you just made a run, but he knows how far Detroit had to come just to get there and what had to fall in place for them to get there. And he said that may have been our best shot ever. Now, as a fan, you don't want to hear that because you want to say, well, we can get back there again next year.
Now, from that perspective, the basketball would hurt a little bit more just because of what you had to do to get there.
And I think it's just so daggum hard in basketball to get to the Final Four and then to win it. Getting there is one thing. I mean, to me, that's the pinnacle. Everybody wants to get to the Final Four. That's the goal. You don't ever hear anybody say, we won the national championship. I think that's a foregone conclusion. But what does everybody say? I want to make it to the Final Four. What do you hang banners for? Final Four, right? As Auburn gets there, but when you get there, you've got 4 unreal teams, man. It's hard to win 2 games there.
Yeah.
And I think you saw what Auburn was up 5 with 17 seconds to go. You almost have to but again, we had a chance to not lose the game.
Yeah.
You had a chance to go make your free throw, and then you put yourself in, you left the door open for them. And right or wrong, like it or not, the referee called the foul, and it gave them an opportunity to win. And then look, Kyle Guy hit all 3 of them. I don't think he hit anything but net on all 3.
Yeah.
You're sitting there going, 3 free throws, they're going to miss one.
Miss one. We'll go to overtime.
And we'll go to overtime. I feel like we can beat. But no, he sealed it, man. So, you have to tip your hat sometimes. But, man.
So yours will be the Final Four then?
I think it's the Final Four for me. And at the time, obviously the football game, but I'll just never forget after that. Because, I was like, man, we've been a nothing basketball school. And we almost just played for a national championship. We could set ourselves apart from a lot of schools in this conference by winning a national championship in basketball. Because who all has won a national championship in basketball in SEC, Scott? We know Kentucky has. Florida. Who else?
That's it.
South Carolina went to a Final Four.
Yeah.
I know there's other teams that have been. But Mississippi State's been to the Final Four before. But who else? Do you see what I'm saying? You could have set yourself into elite company and come from basically nothing to that, and you were right there on the cusp of it. And it just didn't go your way, man. But, again, I know that sounds like Arkansas, of course, yes. Patrick,
Oh, yeah.
they've won it with Nolan.
That ain't my bad. Nolan Richardson.
Heck, that shows you how far along. They're so far in the past.
40 minutes, baby.
40 minutes, and no doubt. But you've got, what, 4 teams that have won a national championship? Could have cemented yourself up there at the top. Got some comments coming in. Tony said, imagine the ACC would be at the Big East was still relevant in football. Where the ACC would be if the Big East was still relevant in football. I mean, yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Going back down memory lane, we'll keep going forward when we come back. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
If you're tired of the same old, and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SDC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
It's truck season at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful full-size and fully loaded Chevrolet Silverado LTZ, discounted up to $11,000 off, or the roomy midsize 3-row SUV, the Chevy Traverse, discounted up to $7,750 off, and the perfect size Chevy Equinox up to $7,750 off. No payments until summertime. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everyone, to Saturday Sports Countdown, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill. I mean, look, I got to say something about that, man. We're talking about the next opportunity for Auburn to make a run was in 2020, I thought. I mean, Isaac Okoro and all that, and then all of a sudden the world shut down. They canceled the SEC tournament, canceled the NCAA tournament. What in the world was – I mean, to think back now on all of that is just, it's mind-blowing what we did as a society. In COVID, man, seriously. I'm not making light of it. I know it's, but I mean, we shut the world down. I went home for 4 months, dude, from my job. Like
I worked at home for a year after that, actually. I didn't go back to the office for a year.
The first semester, I mean, we didn't even have any kids on campus. I mean, we were conducting full classes, full schedules, all online. I mean, it's just, there's no way that wasn't an experiment. I mean, when you think back, I mean, what else could it have been? I mean, yeah, you had a pandemic. I'm not, again, please, nobody take it the wrong way. I'm not saying it wasn't. It was serious. Very serious. A lot of people, it affected a lot of families. But I'm saying from a society standpoint, how knee-jerk reaction it's like we just shut it off, man.
I think there was just nobody knew.
It was panic, man.
Yeah, that was
pure panic.
I think.
But I said all this to get started back and why Auburn had a chance. I think in 2020, we were talking about following things up and how hard it is to get back. I thought Auburn was poised to. Isaac Okoro was playing as good a basketball as anybody in the country, and we were like the hottest. We were the Florida going in the SEC tournament that Florida is this year, right?
I agree. That was a really good team, too. I mean, they had
like 24 wins?
Yeah, I mean, they had started to peak, not peak, but they had hit their stride at the perfect time, and they were expected to make probably be playing on Sunday in the SEC tournament. So, I mean, that goes back to what we're saying. You don't know what could happen, honestly, that prevents you from getting back.
You cannot see the future.
Yeah.
You cannot. I mean, Dan Marino went to, Patrick said, to 25-6. So we're one game better.
Wow.
Actually, if we win today, it would be one game better. But the point is that team was surging. They were absolutely playing their best basketball at the right time. Dan Marino, what do you think he said after he went to the Super Bowl right out of the gate?
We'll have a time.
Oh, man, I'll be back numerous times. Never went back.
Wow.
I mean.
It's hard, man.
Now, Jim Kelly made it back 4 times. He couldn't win it. I'm sorry. I mean.
Yeah.
But some of the best players ever in pro sports, Charles Barkley don't have a national. He don't have.
They went with Phoenix.
He don't have a championship.
Wow.
And then you get Robert Horry, who I'm not diminishing him, but I don't think Robert Horry is looked at in the same category as Charles Barkley and some of the players that I'll just use the Dream Team. But Robert Horry's got, 5, 6 rings?
He may have more than that.
He's got 6. I know.
He won with the Rockets, the Lakers, and the Spurs.
Well, he may have 100.
Well,
he just hit the team.
He may have 7 or 8, honestly, now that I think about it.
Somebody tell us, does he have more rings? I mean, he's got in the modern era than anybody, I think.
I mean, he was – now, granted, he was involved in some key games.
Patrick said he got 7.
7, yeah.
So –
that's wild.
He played, but at the high.
So does that make him better than Jordan if it's about rings?
No.
All right. So could LeBron be better than Jordan?
Well, I mean, Robert Horry wasn't.
I'm just using that as a ring. No, but I'm saying as a ring conversation.
Okay, well, I think we get into the conversation is Trent Dilfer better than Dan Marino?
No.
Well, he won a Super Bowl. Dan Marino did.
So when I think the only time now with like LeBron and Jordan, I think that's the only time you really can use rings is when it's pretty much.
Roger said he got 6. Patrick said 7, so we got a debate going on.
If they got, even basically, or you're the top, then it has to probably come down to rings at that point. And so, Jordan would get it.
Look, I don't think anybody's diminishing LeBron James' accomplishments. He's played a lot longer than Jordan, right? He's the all-time scoring leader. He's got game. There's a lot of things that he has, but there's a lot of things that Jordan has too. And I think from a pure dominance, the man was 6 for 6 in championships. And he took 2 years off. If he hadn't taken, Houston needs to send thank you notes every year to Michael Jordan because if he doesn't take 2 years off, he wins 8. There's no doubt in my mind that man, he left in the prime to go play baseball. Now, I think he was kind of forced out. I think there was a deal there that, hey, you're going to have to step out for a minute because of this gambling thing. Mm-hmm. And then I think he was able to get back into the sport, and he picked up right where he left off. But you know what happened when he was gone? Bulls didn't make it, did they?
No, they
didn't make it. They were terrible.
Scotty took him to the
1 year they were terrible. One of those 2 years they were terrible.
But then even the next year, then when he came, see, people do forget. I know we're going around a little bit, but people do forget. Jordan did come back middle of.
I don't think Roger said you have to win championships to be called great. No, I don't think so. I think that adds
the greatest. I think you do. if you're saying, I think you can be
great at your sport. I mean, I think Barry Sanders is one of the best, if not the best running back of all time in the NFL. But he ain't got squat.
I think football is harder, unless it's the quarterback position. It's hard to say somebody's better. You could be the greatest linebacker of all time. Now, Ray Lewis did win, but, Derek Brooks won. But there's people who you could say maybe are better. But from basketball, really, it's a team sport.
I think if you want to look at LeBron, what he's done with the teams he's been on. Now, I really tip my hat on the one he won in Cleveland. Now, Miami should have – I think Miami blew it, but it is what it is. But you look at what you do with what's around you. John Paxson has how many NBA rings? Steve Kerr's got how many NBA rings? Because of who? It ain't because he went out there and he was a part of the team. He contributed. Robert Horry, definitely a major contributor on the Rockets and the Lakers and the Spurs, right? He had many big shots. But he's not the reason they won the championships or even were there. He was a role player. Michael Jordan elevated the game of everybody around him, I think. And I'm not saying LeBron hasn't done that, but he's been on some really good teams and hadn't won, man. And he's jumped a little bit. He went to the Heat. He went to Cleveland. He got out of Cleveland. He think he could win. Went back there, won that one. I applaud him for that one. And then he's been out there in L.A. He left Miami because he thought, well, I'm going to go to the franchise in L.A. and I'm going to be – and he's won one. He won a bubble championship, and he won it in 20, didn't he?
He did.
Well, he hasn't won anything since, has he?
No, he hasn't. Yeah. I'm not I'm more of a Kobe guy anyway, but
I think that name gets lost in this mix. I'm more willing to say Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, 1A, 1B.
If you're saying
and
Jordan
LeBron
was the best, and then the player who most resembled him, so then
they're the imps of one another.
So you would have to say then that would be number two. But I don't know. The longer it gets in his career, and we talked a little bit about Bronny last week or a couple weeks ago on,
Well, he better get better.
So Bron's trying to extend his career to be able to play with him, and Bronny may not be what the hype was.
He not. Roger said, what about Dennis Rodman? But Dennis Rodman was a massive part of those Bulls.
Jordan did play with those. That's two Hall of Famers with Pippen and Rodman, though.
No doubt.
Well,
I agree with that. There's arguments on both sides. We got to get to a break. Hey, got a good friend, Greg Vincent, coming up next. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
The food at Oscar's Cafe makes your mouth water. At Oscar's, enjoy great tasting catfish, or maybe you're just in the mood for one of Oscar's fresh salads. Even kids know the place for a fine meal is Oscar's with a great kids menu. Oscar's also has great tasting burgers full of backyard flavor. So come on out to Oscar's Cafe for great food and homegrown hospitality. We're located on Highway 49 South in Dadeville, just before the Blue Creek Bridge. And remember, it's all fun and games till there's only one cheese ball left.
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SCC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
The Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro continues to excel in making sure our clients have a smooth and pleasant experience with home financing needs. Families are struggling to make ends meet due to price increases and high interest rates on credit cards. Monthly debt can cripple a family from enjoying the special times in life. Property values are holding strong, and now is the time to take advantage of the equity in your home, saving hundreds of dollars a month. No money out of pocket and no payment until January 2024. Call the Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro today.
Lake Area Realty specializes in Lake Martin real estate. They can help simplify your next real estate purchase or sell and have helped many home buyers and sellers through the area buy and sell real estate with precision. Lake Area Realty utilizes powerful marketing tools and knowledge of the lake to help you with your next move. Call your local hometown agency today, Lake Area Realty, at 256-825-4800. That's 256-825-4800. Lake Area Realty, helping you find your way home.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. A couple segments left here on the show. I want to go back to the Mortgage Pro Eric McKinley hotline and welcome in our good friend Greg Vinson, Major League Fishing Pro, and got a big one coming up this coming week up at Lay Lake, the Red Crest, which is basically the largest bass fishing tournament on the MLF side. Greg, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, I know you've been busy this week. You ran the circuit in Birmingham yesterday, and you've kind of had several TV appearances, and this is the biggest tournament of the year for Major League Fishing. I've told everybody it's the equivalency of the Bassmaster Classic for the bass side. But you guys are fishing here in Alabama. I know you're excited about that. You qualified by being really, really good last year. So I'll start there. Just what does it mean to be able to fish this tournament just an hour and a half from home?
Oh, man, I'm so excited to be in this tournament. Lay Lake is, one of the lakes I sort of cut my teeth on around here. It was one of the big keys to me, eventually having an opportunity to fish professionally, full time many years ago. And I haven't been out there in a while now. I have in the past year since, I found out that I qualified for Red Crest in the past few months. I've been up there before the cutoff and, sort of looking at some old stuff that was good to me in the past, but really trying to relearn it. And, man, I just had forgotten the quality of fish that are in there, spots and largemouth. It's going to be a good one, man. I started the season off bad last year. I had a bomb right out of the gate, then I had a decent tournament, then I had another bomb. And usually two of those like that, you just can't recover in the points. And, man, somehow it worked out. It came down to the last event on the Bass Pro Tour last year up in Michigan, and just had the tournament I needed, man, to get in. And I was just so grateful, to qualify for this tournament at Lay Lake. And it's going to be good, man. We're hitting it at a great time. The weather's warming up. We've had this big rain, so that's going to shake things up a little bit. But, man, they're in there, and we're here at a good time. So it's going to be good. It's going to be a good tournament. I just hope it's a great one for me.
Yeah, so do we, Greg. I mean, again, fishing has changed so much in the last 5 years with technology. And, you're going to see a lot of different techniques used, obviously, coming up this week on how to catch them. And that happens in every tournament. But I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the new fad in fishing. It's changed the game kind of. We've seen college football change over the last several years with everything. And fishing in that sport has changed massively with technology and the forward-facing sonar, the live scope for Garmin really kind of put this on the scene for everybody. And now you got guys going offshore and they're catching big bags and winning big bags, and they're beating guys that usually won the traditional way by going up maybe fishing shallow this time of year. Kind of your thoughts on the way fishing has changed professionally and as an industry as a whole.
Well, it's definitely changed. I watched it change a lot, over the years when I came in, before Live Scope. Live Scope was the reason, actually it was Panoptics before that. It was the reason I made the move to Garmin several years ago. So I've been fortunate, to get to learn it and get to use it from the get-go. And it's amazing, man. It's amazing what you can learn about the fish, about what's going on under the water that we always sort of just, tried to sort of make up in our head what was going on based on the bites we got and when we got them and where and how and all that. And now you're just getting real-time feedback about what's going on down there. And It's changing the game, absolutely. You know, I think this tournament next week is going to be an interesting one to watch. I think, you know, Lay Lake is traditionally a power fisherman's paradise. You know, you got all the grass, the docks, and it's got the good spotted bass that relate to cover and current. And, you know, they kind of stick to the bottom. Sometimes those fish can be a little harder to target with live scope. But up until this point this season, pretty much every tournament we've watched has been dominated by forward-facing sonar like Garmin Live Scope. And I'm curious to see. I mean, I've got to personally investigate that. You know, when I came up fishing Lay Lake, that was not an option. You know, we I don't even know if we had side imaging back then, if you want to think about how far back that is. But I think, you know, it's one of those you have to learn how to be efficient with it. You can get hung up doing that with forward sonar and not get the results. You can be fishing for fish that aren't even bass sometimes and don't know that. So it's important to know, you know, when to stick with it and when to kind of let it go and just let your instincts kick in. And this is a time of year, you know, these fish are getting really close to spawning and moving shallow and moving, you know, up there in that super shallow water around that cover. And so it's going to be really interesting to watch how this plays out. You know, there could be some groups of fish out there roaming in open water and that are aggressive. And if they are, you know, somebody's going to capitalize on that. But they very easily could decide it's time to hit the bank and get up there around that cover. And then it goes back to the old school techniques that we've all grown to love over the years.
You know, it just kind of, you put the practice in, and I know you'll be starting practice pretty soon up there, but, you know, you got to get out there and kind of figure out what you want to do and make the right decisions. It really doesn't change. I know this is a new technique that's really brought in a whole different group of fish to fish for that, like you said, in the past you wouldn't be fishing for. It wasn't an option back in the day, but that doesn't necessarily mean that'll be what wins this tournament. So you gotta consider all things, and I know that's what you'll do, like the rest of the guys up there, is you'll try to put as much time in during the allotted practice hours and try to figure them out. Greg, just kind of tell everybody the schedule for this coming up week and what they can do to keep up with you.
Yeah, we'll start practice tomorrow, and we'll have 3 days of practice. Then we'll be off, go do some media stuff on Wednesday. Tournament starts on Thursday. I believe they're going to show this on live on MajorLeagueFishing.com from the first day. You know, they're going to start covering it the first day for Red Crest. I believe. I hope I'm not wrong. Last thing I saw, that was the case. The expo is going to be Birmingham Jesperson Convention Center. That's going to start on Friday. You want to look that up on redcrest.com, but I believe it's going to open up at 11 and go to 5. And that's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday up there. I saw a list of the vendors. The list I saw was almost 100 vendors that are going to be there. So, and it's not just fishing, from what I hear. They've got, you know, all kind of outdoors. If you love the outdoors, they got something there for you, from what I hear. So, the show's going to be exciting. They'll have big screens up there where you can watch the live while you're milling around at the convention center. And we're going to take off out of Beeswax. So takeoff is at 7 o'clock, but we don't go lines in until 7:30. But if you want to come down to Beeswax and watch everybody take off, and then we'll go lines out at 3:30. So depending on where you are on the lake, it takes a few minutes to get back to Beeswax, of course. But I would imagine most everybody be rolling in, you know, 3:45, 4 o'clock, and you can watch everybody, you know, putting the boats on the trailer, come out, come get some autographs. You know, all of our guys love to stop, talk with the fans, and sign some things for them. So, and sometimes just spend a few minutes chatting. So be a great time to catch your favorite anglers down there at the park, too.
I was going to ask that. So, yeah, if you're a fan and you want to catch up with any of the guys, you know, be at Beeswax there on Lay Lake sometime around starting around 3:30 when lines are out, and you can hang out there at the ramp and wait on the guys to get back. Well, Greg, really appreciate you taking time out this morning. I know you're really busy. You know, you're going to go right back to work getting everything prepared because you start practice tomorrow, but we just wanted to get you on and let everybody know what's going on, and wish you nothing but the best this week, man. And you and I'll have some content probably coming up when the tournament gets started, so we're looking forward to that.
Good deal, man. I appreciate it, and hope everyone can come out and see us. It's going to be a good one.
Thanks so much, Greg. Have a good day, buddy.
Thanks, bud.
All right, that's Greg Vinson with Major League Fishing. Made a career out of being a pro fisherman. Been doing it for over 20 years now. So fishing in could this be his time? You know, he was runner-up in Bassmaster Classic several years ago. Greg's always been a top 10, 15 fisherman. Can things line up in a 3-day period for him to win this tournament? I mean, he's gonna be as good as anybody in that 40-man field. So it'll be fun to watch. And of course, Greg grew up here and is from this area, now lives in Wetumpka and has been there for a long time. So wish him nothing but the best. Up against our final break of the show. Stay tuned. One final segment right after this.
Hey, it's Brett Pritchard, and I'm here to tell you all about Sims Foods, who you know better as Wickles Pickles. Wickles Pickles, that 90-year-old recipe, wickedly delicious. Relish, okra, and pickles. From Saturday sandwiches, tailgate snacks, to holiday dinners with your family and friends. From their family to yours, Wickles Pickles, those wickedly delicious pickles.
Wickles Pickles, wickedly delicious pickles.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
At Russell Medical, we're proud of our exceptional nurses, like Nurse Brandy Worthy. Brandy represents the selfless, compassionate clinical leader patients expect and coworkers admire. Brandy was recently honored with the Nightingale Award for Nursing Excellence for her high standards, sound judgment, and caring manner. Her passion for her profession inspires us all.
Being a nurse is not just what you do, it's who you are. I'm proud to be a part of the nursing team at Russell Medical. We are the link between all hospital services, providing you with exceptional, personalized care.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Main Street Family Urgent Care.
Main Street Family Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care opens 7 days a week.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Fill your tank, not your wine glass. What? Why is there a wine glass in your car? Alabama has a code of the road, and knowing it helps you follow it. This is a message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Welcome back, everyone. Final segment here on Saturday Sports Countdown. We appreciate everybody joining us. Appreciate Greg taking time out this morning to join us here on the program to talk about the Red Crest coming up on Late next week. It starts on Thursday. They'll be practicing starting tomorrow. Then they'll have a media event on Wednesday up in Birmingham. And so all of you out there that love fishing, again, that expo will be going on Thursday through Sunday. Up in the BJCC. So you want to be part of that, want to go up there and take advantage of that. Basketball to end here, Scott, just kind of looking back at the SEC, what's on tap today. Georgia at Auburn will be at 5:30 tonight. Arkansas will be at Alabama at 11 o'clock this morning. So here in just a couple hours, they will get rolling here. A&M and Ole Miss at 1 o'clock on CBS. Boy, that's a game CBS wish they could change. They'd rather have that Kentucky-Tennessee game, I promise. And actually, they do have it. It's on after the A&M game. So they did pick that game up. That'll be a doubleheader. South Carolina, Mississippi State at 1:30. Florida at Vanderbilt. And then Missouri at LSU. Missouri's last opportunity
to get a conference.
Talk about,
man.
And then in baseball, they're 6-6 right now. They're in dead last in the conference in baseball.
Tough times for the Tigers.
Well, Auburn with a big walk-off home run yesterday to improve to 11-2 on the season. A very good Austin P. Very good Austin P team, and they had a kid, and I hate to say a kid, a grown man hit one 494 feet yesterday. They hit the top of the scoreboard in dead center or in left center and bounced and kept going. I mean, this Greg Olson said he thinks the exit velocity on that thing was at 140 something. Maybe Braden sent it to me. He was there. He sent me a text. He said, "Man, some dude from Austin P just hit one to the moon," and they think that's the hardest hit ball since they've been tracking exit velocity and distance. That one of the furthest ones that's ever been hit.
In college ball?
In Plainsman Park.
Plainsman Park.
So, I mean, probably I mean, that's on up there for college, too, when a guy hit a missile. But Auburn battled back and won the game. So, they'll start later on today, get the field ready. The rain looks like it's moved out, and looks like Alabama will have a doubleheader as well today to kind of get things going in their series. They canceled yesterday's game. Just looking at the standings here, didn't go really through a mock tournament, Scott, but you're looking at Tennessee already grabbing first place regardless of what happens. You know they want to win against Kentucky and go ahead and solidify that momentum going in. But Kentucky 12-5, Auburn, Alabama, and South Carolina all 12-5 on the season.
So Auburn can get the double bye.
Auburn's in place to be in the top
four. So if they win
today,
okay,
they could be as high as the 2 seed. Looks like it'll probably settle at the 3. And if Auburn plays and things kind of hold serve, would get Florida in the quarterfinals, and then a possible rematch of Alabama in the semifinals.
Nice.
So, and more than likely face Kentucky or Tennessee in the championship. Now, don't sleep on South Carolina. I mean, they may have something to say about it, but that's going to be fun to watch. But that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Saturday Sports Countdown. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us, all the comments that came through today, and we'll be back with you next week for another full week of Sports Blitz programming. For Scott Hardy, I'm Brett Pritchard saying we've enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.
It's truck season at AHSAA Automotive. New Honda Ridgelines, $349 a month. Ford Rangers, $357 a month. Nissan Frontiers, $379 a month. And Chevrolet Silverados, $399 a month. At AHSAA Automotive. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge, engine, powertrain, and more. It's truck season at AHSAA Honda, Tony Serra Ford, Serra Nissan, and Serra Chevrolet.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen-printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
Have you met your local Farmers Insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
This is Kalijah Country, Lake Martin's best country. Kalijah Country 97.5.
Country look good on you. Tearing up an old two-lane tune. Way down in Alabama, where they love living safe. Trying to write a song, the local country station will play.
Lake Martin's best country. Kalijah Country 97.5.
Are you waking up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, maybe even ringing in your ears, all because you're grinding and clenching your teeth at night? That's exactly what was going on with me. That's when I found this, the Brux Night Guard. Now, the Brux Night Guard redirects the bite force away from the back teeth, reducing jaw pain while still protecting the teeth. This unique design is what makes Brux Night Guard different from all other traditional grind guards. Go to BruxNightGuard.com and order yours today.